Well, hello and welcome. In today's video, I want to talk about beliefs, and more specifically, our negative beliefs about ourselves. So, what are we believing about ourselves? And are these beliefs fixed? Are they true? Or can they be worked with and even changed? And are our beliefs serving us? Are they driving us to live the life and the quality of life that we'd like to live? So if we take a look at our day-to-day life, we walk around thinking and having thoughts and self-talk like, I'm good at this or I'm not good at that. I'm someone who does this but doesn't do that. I'm this or that, right? And then we have our behaviors or our habits of life that tend to reflect those beliefs. Kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we might look at it the other way around. We behave in a certain way, we react to life situations in such a way, and because of that, we start to believe things about ourselves. So let me give a few examples. If I believe that I'm not good enough, then my habits, my life might look like somebody who is a perfectionist, who has to make everything the best of the best in order to live with this feeling of not being good enough. Or maybe I find myself too busy because I just have to always do more and more and more to prove or to help this feeling of not feeling good enough. Or maybe I feel like I'm unworthy. And if I have this feeling, then my relationships in my life might be really unsatisfying because I might not expect people to treat me well or to do things for me. Or perhaps I'm someone who has to feel in control of everything. Then I'm somebody who's always excessively planning. Maybe I'm trying to control other people's behavior in situations so that I can create the outcome that makes me feel okay. Or maybe I'm someone who feels mean when I say no, so that in my life, I resist saying no to people. So I'm finding myself exhausted from having to do too much. Or I'm not taking care of myself because I'm too busy doing things for other people. And this might be leaving me feeling frustrated and angry, with myself and my life situation. So at this point, we might want to ask ourselves, are these beliefs serving us? And are they fixed, or can we change our beliefs so that we can change the quality and outcomes of our lives? So at this point, I'd like to say we could stop and investigate. Where do our beliefs even come from? And we may want to sit and maybe write or think back to where we actually established a belief about ourselves about not being good enough or feeling unworthy or having to feel in control. And maybe it was an event or events from our past within family or society, and you can look back and see, well, where did this belief even come from? And then we might ask ourselves, is the belief even true? And is it true across the board? And I'd like to say that no, that we're not fixed characters or fixed beings. For example, I know someone who, as a people pleaser, struggles with saying no or putting up boundaries in her work environment, but feels very in control of saying no in her family environment. So she struggles with people pleasing in one place, but not the other. Or I might feel that I live out of shoulds with maybe a family situation, but I don't feel so obligated to live out of shoulds with my friends or in my work environment. So we're not fixed across the board. We're actually very changeable, malleable human beings so that we can work with these beliefs. And then the other thing you might want to ask yourself, is this belief serving you? I mean, is believing that I'm not good enough making my quality of life what I want it to be? And we can investigate and ask ourselves these questions. And then we can know that we have it within our own power to change these beliefs. So in this way, we can recreate our own story that we have about ourselves. And before I move on, I'd like to say that when we do take a look at what we've been believing about ourselves and what we might want to change about ourselves, that we're not to be blaming ourselves or be blaming other people, or to be being, frustrated with ourselves. What we want to do here is just to really have a real kind, caring, investigative approach into who we've been being and who we would prefer to be, and what we've been believing and what we would like to believe about ourselves. So with a lot of compassion and caring for ourselves, we really do have to remember that. And remember that we can make these changes if we really want to. So at this point, if we want to make changes in our beliefs and the subsequent quality of our life, we can start looking at, firstly, rephrasing the beliefs that we have about ourselves. So if it's I'm not good enough, we could start believing that we're good enough. And then we could have the actions that reflect that in our lives. So some things to think about, or some things to put these new beliefs and actions and habits into place, is, for the first thing is self-talk. Like I say, we rephrase our self-talk into the positive. In this case, I am good enough. And we literally do have to think about and be aware of how we're speaking to ourselves and how we think and speak about ourselves to others. Because this self-talk supports, or it drives, our behavior. So if I'm believing I'm good enough, then I'm not going to feel like I have to be perfect all the time, or I'll be someone who knows I can make mistakes and learn from them. So we can start shifting our self-talk to ourselves inwardly, and how we speak to others outwardly about ourselves. We can become really aware of this, and this can support our change in how we want to be in life. The other thing is some really small steps. So if we feel like we're being mean if we say no, we can shift that self-talk about, I'm not mean if I say no, and I can take small steps and say no as a behavior that I can start then saying, hey, I'm a person who can say no. I'm a person who can take care of myself and who can set boundaries. So that action of saying no supports your new belief of, I'm not a bad person if I say no. And also really deciding to make yourself a priority in these shifts. And we choose to do that simply because we want to. We don't have to be given permission from anybody else. We can just decide, I don't like how my life is looking in this particular area. I am going to make the effort to spend time on myself, to shift my internal self-talk, and to create behaviors that support that self-talk. And we also want to give ourselves lots of time to learn. We're going to make a lot of mistakes, and we will always make mistakes, obviously. But while we're creating new beliefs about ourselves and new habits to support it, we're going to make mistakes. And we want to really give ourselves a lot of permission to learn. And also, as we're moving through making changes for ourselves, to really treat ourselves with kindness, just as we would a really good friend who you were coaching or supporting in being the person that they wanted to be, right? You give them lots of encouragement, lots of sense of you can do it, and I know I can shift myself to be the person I want to be. So we can really support ourselves this way. Yeah, so that idea of choosing to shift your beliefs, which is like the setting intention for the shifts that you might want to make, and then consciously choosing the responses to life and the habits that we want to have to support that new belief. So in this way, it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy that I mentioned at the beginning, but by our own choosing. So I'd love to know what you think about beliefs. Can they be changed? Can you change your beliefs and your habits accordingly? And if you have any questions about what I talked about in this video, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. And if you'd like to get some personalized support in how people-pleasing affects your life, please sign up for a complimentary mini coaching session with me, and I'll leave a link for that below. And as well, if you'd like to join a group of like-minded women who continue conversations like this, I'd love for you to join my free private Facebook group, and I'll leave a link for that below. And once again, thank you for watching, and be kind to yourself. Bye for now.